is not one size fits all يعني. So having said that, and I'm firm believer of the principle of الأصل في الأشياء الإباحة يعني, that the norm for things is to be lawful, and whoever says that it is haram and lawful, the burden of the proof is on them. Yani, it's not the other way around, because for a while, under some schools of thoughts and some Islamic groups, I think we reversed that. We reversed that, and it became like al-asl fil ashya tahrim, that things are haram until proven otherwise. So if you say halal, then you have to prove it. And that's very bad, yani. That's very damaging to the deen. Yani. This is the deen of fitra, very compatible with the inner nature of people. Yani. And I find that principle is really great one, which is things are lawful unless proven otherwise. Applying this to the question, even though I don't want to issue fatwa, especially in our context here, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's this is the norm in this country, so this is the social norm. Yani. Again, I need to look into any evidence that people have to say haram, but things are halal until proven otherwise. And I need to see the evidence of anyone who's very adamant about it, say that women should never or should not go to graveyards or funerals, participate in funerals. My first, I mean, it's not like guessing. We don't guess when it comes to halal and haram, but I'm inclined towards that's a social norm. I don't see anything that is that will make it haram. Now people have to behave. They have to behave even in the masjid, in the street. I mean, that's not only in the funerals. Yeah. I mean, in different places, there are people have to be decent, or should be decent as Muslims. A Muslim should be decent in their dress and in their behavior, and something just reasonable. This is a funeral, and usually funeral. Even non-Muslims, I mean, everybody almost, they usually have, they are very decent in their dress. And usually people, they wear black things and nothing attractive and nothing. And that's everybody. That's what everybody almost does. Yeah. So again, I don't want to really get into to give solid fatwa to say it is halal and haram. That's very serious. But that's my first inclination. Yeah.
جزاك الله.
وعليكم السلام. طيب بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Inshallah, yani we're continuing with our journey with the Quran. I really enjoying it very much. I hope that everybody is. I think by now it showed to all of us how much we're missing, how great this our source of guidance is, and how little we are leveraging out of it. And simply that it's not the puzzle, yani. We're not making the effort, yani. We're not trying, we're not dedicating time because of some misconceptions that killed the motivation and the incentive to study the Quran and reflect, and blocked that idea. And then and even when we put the effort, a lot of time we do it the wrong way. And the small percentage of Muslims who are dedicating time to the Quran, they don't get out of the circle of either reading, listening, maybe memorizing, maybe sometimes some. I mean, that's not many actually. Memorizing, it's really gets to small fraction. Yeah. Learning tajweed, maybe, and doing it for the ajr, yani. Doing it just to see how many pages you read, or how many, so that you can count how many rewards you gained. Yani. So if it's even done for the wrong purpose. And it's not the wrong purpose, but it's not for that. Quran is not to be studied for rewards only, and you will get the rewards inshallah if you study it for guidance. And then maximum people will gather in a halaqa, and you see these halaqas a lot of time in the masjid or even in the houses, and then they read, maybe recite Quran, and then somebody will open a book of tafsir and just read from it, like Ibn Kathir, etc., with no attention to what kind of implications are these things that were said by Ibn Kathir or others, are they still valid? How can we apply these verses now? How can we understand them? Nobody. Just people will gather and somebody will read those page or two from the tafsir, and people, they go feeling good. They go home feeling good that they attended the halaqah, they get some spiritual food or spiritual. They fed their spirituality. And then again, all of this has to be corrected. Now I think what we're doing here is a little bit more in line with what should be done with the Quran, which is studying it and reflecting and trying to dig out as much guidance from it as possible, because we know that the guidance of the Quran will not end, and until the day of judgment, people and generations will dig out more guidance from the Quran. So as you have seen how long it took us to finish Surah Al-Baqarah. That's one surah. That's a fraction of the Quran, and it's not even a large fraction, but it's less than 8% of the Quran, and it took us all of this time. Today we're switching to Surah Al-Imran, and probably we're going to spend the session mostly about the introduction, introducing the surah and putting the chapter and putting things in perspective before getting into the details. And we'll try to do it like last time, inshallah, stop halfway and leave more time for questions and interaction. Surah Al-Imran, surah very loaded with lessons and guidance. It's a heavy one, it's a very concentrated. Keep in mind the role of the Quran. That's I need always to bring this so that all of us will remember that this Quran is deen. It's a source of guidance that was meant to clarify or to chart the course for Muslims, basically explaining to them, chart the course toward the pleasure of Allah. The path that will lead eventually to the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the رضوان الله. يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه. Beautiful, eloquent, very eloquent. Quran, all of it is eloquent, but that's Surah Al-Ma'idah. يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه. Quran, Allah is saying that He will guide with this Quran those who are seeking the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه. So that should be there, which is that you are someone who are not taking the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granted, but you are pursuing it. You're looking for directions. And here the Quran will provide you that direction. That's one thing. That's the main thing, actually. The main thing is Quran is the chart the path towards the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب. Quran does something else very important, which is the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know by now, those of you who have been attending, whether this class or Jumu'ah, understand that Quran is essentially a life mission. It's a divine mission that you embrace. And the essence of this deen is that you committing yourself, you're dedicating yourself. That's what you do when you declare your Shahada. You pledge to dedicate your life and yourself to find out, to figure out, to understand the purpose of Allah and fulfill it. That's the commitment that was what was in the minds of the companions when they came to declare Shahada at that time. Maybe the Arabic language helped because they were masters of the language, so they did not take the Shahada lightly and the verses of the Quran lightly or superficially. So that's what was in their mind. I'm pledging to, from now on, I will be living for Allah. So I will be putting the efforts day in, day out to figure out what is it that is expected from me, where am I expected to be, what is it that I'm expected to do, and try to meet those divine expectations. Understand my job description, understand what is it that Allah expects from me, and then try to fulfill it all the time. That's not the understanding of the vast majority of Muslims. Vast majority of Muslims, they went to the convenient understanding, which is that this deen is mainly, there is a short list of things that you have to do, and there is a short list of things that you have to avoid. And if you do that, you don't need to make any effort needed to study or to learn or to push yourself or to, there is nothing. I mean, it's just very, very simple things. You're going to have to pray 5 times and fast and perform Hajj and Zakat if you qualify. And then there are a couple of things that you have to avoid. Other than that, you're fine. Yeah. That's the vast majority of Muslims. And these are the practicing Muslims. And we're not talking about those who, even this, they think that they don't have to. Even this, they think it is optional. They think that we can do without because I'm Muslim and I have a good heart. Inshallah, Allah will forgive and will accept me. So if you understand Islam this way, then you're gonna be in your life pursuing that, the path that will lead to the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here the Quran comes to give you that direction. Quran does something else in addition to charting that course and telling you how to get there and what is your mission in life. Quran prepares you for that and prepares the community for that. So always when you read the Quran, keep these 3 things in mind. You can add 4 maybe. It's basically, Quran is to solidify your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no question about it. Because remember that Quran is a book about Allah. All right, 1. And strengthen that iman and your spirituality, etc. Make you more motivated to worship and more motivated to do good, etc. So that's the main role of the Quran. Then reminding you of what you are supposed to do, reminding you of your mission and your obligation and the expectations, always tell you these things. And then build you as an individual, shape your mind, shape your personality, shape your spirituality, Quran shapes you to be that person who's going to fulfill that mission, and then build the community. And that's why you see Quran always either guiding or discussing issues, debating issues. Why? Because Muslims were subject to those attacks. I mean, Muslims, their principles, their beliefs were always challenged by their entourage. So Quran comes to strengthen them and to refute the arguments that are used to shake the beliefs of Muslims. You find this especially in Surah Al Imran extensively. Surah Al Imran, dealing with the arguments that were mentioned by some of the people of the book at that time, some hypocrite, Quraysh, etc., because Muslims were subject to all of this. And this idea that the companions are, their iman is so solid that it doesn't need to be solidified or strengthened, that's not true. I mean, Quran will tell you that they were a human being, and Quran was always strengthening them and empowering them and supporting them in the face of all these temptations and all of these challenges. So Quran addressing that community and building it, and waging the battle inside the Muslim and with actually it's not battle with the environment, but engagement, maybe the engagement or the interaction with the environment. So helping them dealing with that, with all these challenges, directing them to what is supposed to what they're supposed to do, shaping their minds and their personality, drawing lessons, because Quran, Islam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared the Muslim community not only by guidance, but also by incident, by the real lessons of life. As we see, probably one of the most important incident in the history, in the seerah of Rasulullah was the Battle of Uhud. Not because of the anything, but because of the lessons that were revealed from this battle, and changed the minds of Muslims. Because Muslims, after the Battle of Badr, they were under the impression that Allah is with them all the time, and because they are believers, they can take it easy and they will get it made. That's what they did. Because how do they get this? Because they asked that question. They asked the question after the Battle of Uhud. They were wondering why they were defeated, even though they were Muslims, which tells you that they were under the impression that because we are Muslims, we don't have to plan, we don't have to be very careful, we don't have to take all precautions and measures, because at the end of the day, Allah will take care of everything. Yeah. And that was corrected, and they learned the hard way. Yeah. They learned the hard way, because the Battle of Uhud was really it's a very sad event. Yeah. It's a very sad, not only because of the loss, and because of the defeat, because of the number of companions that were martyred, and because of what happened after that. Because after Badr and the victory, many tribes in the Arabian Peninsula, they start respecting and behaving. Treating, and then, but after the Battle of Uhud, everybody have tempted to attack Medina, because this is a community that proved to be weak. And remember that inside the Medina itself, there were a lot of challenges, a lot of groups who are conspiring, and so we have to keep this in mind, because one of the things that have to be fixed in the minds of Muslims is that the seerah of Rasulullah is a model of a very effective model of building and leading a very successful movement and community. And it was not easy. It didn't happen by miracles. Rasulullah 99% and maybe more of his life was not behaving as a prophet. He was behaving as a human being and as a leader. Yeah. So only when he was conveying wahy, that's the role, that pure role as a prophet. Other than that, was a leader, then the consulting and making decision and strategizing and planning and being proactive. And it's an amazing story of movement of change. Very successful leadership and vision and strategies and milestones. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of books of Sirah tackle that, and we end up studying Sirah as just series of battles and focusing on who died and how many. And so Battle of Badr, this again, half of the Surah Al Imran was about the Battle of Uhud, and the other half was dealing with the concepts of the people of the book, mainly the issue of Jesus and Mary. And so you can divide it. It's like two parts. It's one part, it's Aqidah, talking about Aqidah and consolidating the Aqidah of Tawheed and refuting other arguments, and in a very nice and eloquent way and very convincing, actually. And then the other half, it was about the Battle of Uhud, and mainly about the lessons, because there is hardly anything mentioned about the battle itself. That's not the nature of the Quran. Nature of the Quran, it was revealed to tell them what happened, why, what are the lessons learned. So because that was in the minds of Muslims, and they started to guess or to figure out or to contemplate why this has happened to us, why we were Muslims and we are advocating the cause of Allah, and we ended up defeated badly like this. And you know what happened to Hamza and what happened Mus'ab ibn Umair, and these are the prominent companions anywhere. And worse than all of this, what happened to the Prophet himself. The Prophet was wounded, his forehead was wounded, his tooth was broken. He fell in a hole, and he was about to be killed. And that's, for the companions, it probably was worse than anything else. So there was a lot of pain after the Battle of Uhud, and Quran came in a very strong language. There was because these are serious lessons that you have to learn, that nations and communities, they thrive and decline because of some reasons, not because they're Muslims. That was a very heavy lessons that had to be learned that way. That you forget about the fact that you're Muslim when it comes to thriving, succeeding, winning in this life. There are rules, and we see now this is a branch of social science, which is the rules that govern the rise and fall of nations. There are so many books that were written about, and I can see that probably the second part of Surah Al-Imran probably was one of the earliest things that were written about that these succeeding and failing in life, winning and losing, are governed by rules. It's not because of who you are. It's not because of your faith. It was very heavy lesson. The lessons of Shura, the consultation, leadership by consultation, was reinforced in Battle of Uhud once and for all. Why? Because Quran, the nature of the Quran, it teaches us by extreme examples, so that you don't need more examples. Remember the hadith of the seedling? You have a seedling and you saw the sign of the Day of Judgment. You wake up in the morning, you find that the sun came from the west. So it's over. And the hadith say, if you can manage to plant it just before the end, do it. But now this hadith means that you have no reason, no valid reason to procrastinate, to delay anything that you can do now. That's it. You need only one hadith. The Day of Judgment, it's over. So if you start thinking that, okay, why? What's the point? There is nothing that's going to come out of this where it's over. No. Even in that circumstances, if you can manage to beat the clock and plant it, that seedling, fasila, and do it. طيب, comes the hadith of Safina. There is a ship and there are people on the upper deck and people on the lower deck, and the people on the lower deck, they say, every time we need water, we have to go up. We're bothering people. It's very good intention. We're bothering them. So why doing that? Just let's dig a hole, and then we get our water from the directly. So hadith said that the people in the upper deck, they shouldn't say that you are safe. If they let them do it, then everybody will sink. Hadith very powerful about civic engagement and about amr bil ma'ruf and nahy al munkar, that if you live in a society and you say that I'm going to mind my own business and protect my family, and I don't care what happens in the society because I'm safe, you're doing like the people in the ship who say we are in the upper deck, let the ship sink, we are fine. Another very extreme hadith. The Shura was, as we will see inshallah later on in details, was applied before the Battle of Uhud. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the way, Uhud, like Badr, was in self-defense. Badr, it was Abu Jahl and the leadership of Quraysh who insisted on fighting. So Muslim had to fight. In Uhud, they were sitting in Uhud and they heard that Quraysh is coming, the army. So it was also self-defense. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as you know, gathered people and then start consulting. What should we do? And the options, we go out and fight, or we wait for them in the streets of the Medina, and then we make it street fight. Basically, we know the Medina very well, and we can even women can participate, and everybody, kids maybe can, everybody can participate because we can. It's a street fight. Back and forth. Older companions say we need to. The second option is better. We stay in the Medina. Young companions who did not participate in Badr say no, we will be coward if we wait for them until they come. After the debate, majority saw that we go out. Rasul ﷺ went inside and came out ready to go. And we will inshallah see more. This is one of the very powerful lessons that Rasul ﷺ taught us, and we did not learn until this moment. Until this moment, we did not learn this lesson. Rasul ﷺ, when he went inside to prepare to go out, to prepare for and then to wear basically his uniform, the companion I said, probably we pushed him. Yeah. So inshallah, when he come out, we'll tell him that we're sorry, Prophet of Allah. We can yani, concede. Yani, we're not sticking to our opinion. The books of Sirah said that was one of the few occasions when Rasul ﷺ was clearly mad when they told him this. When he came out and said, you know what? Now we felt that we put some pressure on you. Now do whatever you want. We can, or we can rediscuss. Let's open again. The books of Sirah said one of the few times when Rasul ﷺ was clearly mad and his face was red. Why? What was the lesson that we did not learn until this moment? The lessons that Rasul ﷺ as a teacher was telling the companions and telling us and telling Muslims until the day of judgment that the time for discussion is over, decision was made, we moved to execution, we're not going to open the subject again. There is no new data, there is no new information that will make us reopen the subject. Otherwise, we're going to be in paralysis forever, just discussion. Yeah. Until now, you don't see Islamic groups or Islamic parties or whatever apply this. There is a time, it's over. We took a decision. Now we shifted to the execution. Unless there is new piece of information that is important, that's it. There is no perfect decision. There is a decision that is taken the right way. You will never know whether that decision is the better one. And that's the other lesson. Because even though this decision apparently led to a defeat, Quran was revealed to tell Rasul ﷺ, consult with them. So this is the Prophet who consulted. It led to a defeat. That's an extreme. And any other leader will tell his people, you know what? When we tried it last time, that's it. There is no more shura. It's not going to happen again. The Prophet, consultation, the result was bad. The principle was confirmed. That decision was taken the right way. That's not the reason why you were defeated. You were defeated because of something else, as we'll explain. So that has an amazing couple of things that already happened, which is the fact that Rasul ﷺ taught companions and taught us until the day of judgment to know that when you contemplate options and then you go for one of them, that's it. And you switch to execution, then you focus on executing that decision to the best of your abilities. And then the principle of consultation, it's independent of the outcome. It's independent of who is leading, independent of anything. If one person comes to this group and he is genius, still has to consult. He consulted and the result was bad. He still have to consult because the principle was confirmed with the Prophet and was confirmed with the Prophet after a very bad defeat. So Battle of Uhud, full of lessons as will come, and that's where you see Quran shaping the minds of people, which we don't do it until now, and that's why Muslim minds ended up in this horrible situation where you have the superstition, khurafa, sha'wada, tawakkul, lot of misconceptions because we're not using the Quran or allowing the Quran to shape our minds. Um, so just keep in mind situation. First of all, after Badr, Badr was major problem, yani. Major problem or raised the challenges for Muslims. Yani. Badr defeat or the victory of Muslims in Badr, you know, it has shaken the status of Quraysh. Quraysh was the tribe, yani, the leading, very prestigious tribe and very strong tribe. All the other tribes were like satellite, yani, for Quraysh, the one taking care of Kaaba, and that big Quraysh was defeated. So that's not easy, yani. So it was a major blow to their status. It was a major blow to their trade. It was a major blow to so many things. It was a major blow to the perception that was that these are renegade. These are people who just yani, they rebelled against the tribe, and that's big. And now these people who have defeated you. Yani. That's very serious. And you can say that probably after the Battle of Badr, what confirmed the status of Muslims in the Medina as an equal state to Quraysh was the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. So one time was through a victory, and the other time, and the next time was through sitting on the table and signing treaty. They don't sign the treaty with renegades. You sign treaty with the state, with another state. So Badr was like, did this and then did the major blow in Medina. Because this is an emerging community and then had that very big victory. So the Jewish tribes in the Medina, after Badr, nifaq, hypocrisy, I mean, increased. Actually, some scholars say it was really started, yani, but probably I'm leaning more toward that. There was already before Badr the beginning of nifaq or hypocrisy, but it increased substantially after the Battle of Badr. Now, just to know the context in which this surah was revealed, the Muslim community, unlike what we have in mind, that these are Superman and these are ideal people and these are like saint or no, they're not. They were a human being and they were subject to a lot of temptations. There were among Muslims at that time people who are still attached somehow to their tribes in Quraysh or their Mushrik tribes in Quraysh or Medina or otherwise. There are people who are still have a lot of partnership with business, partnership with Jewish tribes. So this idea that this was a perfect, solid community, that's not true. That's why Quran was revealed to cement it and to seal it and to protect it and to inspire it, etc. So that's the kind of community that the Prophet ﷺ was leading in. So and these hypocrites, same thing. They were infiltrating the community. People, Muslims, they took victory for granted. I'm talking about the situation in which this surah was revealed and in which this the Battle of Uhud took place. The Jewish tribes in Medina, actually that did not start from Badr. That started from the immigration, the migration of the Prophet ﷺ to begin with. Of course, the Jewish tribes at that time, they had the upper hand because they were the people of the book and the people, they understand religion, etc. And then these the illiterate, the Ummiyin, the idol worshippers were like second class. And here comes another message that is divine in nature, confirming the message of Musa and Isa, etc. So that was a big blow to the status of the Jewish tribes, especially Medina and the Arabian Peninsula at that time, because that status was reserved for them. It's like the clergy, the people who understand God, understand religion, not the idol worshiper. And then comes a prophet with another message, similar and confirming. And then, of course, when it comes to business, and that's a fact. I mean, we're not like against Jews or against anybody, but it was a fact that the people of Medina were taking advantage of, and this fueling Arabs at that time, there was some, it's tribal society, they were fighting each other, just to be fair. Yani. It's not like it was all conspiracy. But in Medina, no, there was conspiracy between Aus and Khazraj, and there was some hands that were fueling it. And here comes Prophet Muhammad SAW and unifying these two tribes. And you know, if you are doing business, you thrive on wars. Yeah, you thrive on division. You thrive on weakness of society, and society is unified and has a cause, and they see themselves equal to you. They used to see you higher than them. Now they see themselves equal or even higher or better or whatever. That also major blow. So major blow from the message itself, from the migration, and now from Badr, because Badr sent a very strong message to everybody in the Arabian Peninsula. So this is brief introduction for that short summary or an introduction of the Surah Al Imran. It's a very long surah. Again, half of it is discussing Aqidah, and especially the issue of Jesus and Mary. And the other half is about the Battle of Uhud and changing those the perception, and because at the end of the day, people are transformed by their beliefs and by their thoughts and ideas, by their mindset, and that's what Quran was doing all the time, reinforcing the Tawheed and then reshaping the minds of people who were very superficial and living very simple life, and they don't have much to do in life, and now they were assigned or selected to carry very humongous mission for which they had to be built. Yeah. So I'm going to stop here, and then if you have questions or comments, otherwise we can, or after that we can continue.